Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us on today's community webcast, CA Service Management Upgrades Made Easier, Tips, Tricks, and Tools. My name is Alan Haupt with the ITSM marketing team, and I'll be hosting the call. Before I introduce today's speaker, I wanted to just go through a couple logistics. Just the one thing is we will be hosting a live Q&A session at the end of the presentation. You can ask questions throughout by clicking on the Q&A tab at the top. And make sure that you address your questions to all participants. Chris, correct me if that's, they should be using chat for that, but I think that's disabled. In any case, we will be going through a presentation. This session was actually a presentation that was delivered at CA World, and it was met with a lot of success there, and judging by the number of attendees on today's call, we have quite a bit of interest in it as well. Our guest speaker is Ishrat Aziz. Ishrat is in the Software Engineering Group Director at CA in Service Management and actually did this presentation at CA World. It goes into a great degree of depth, and I think you'll get a lot out of it. So at this point, I'll turn it over, and Ishrat, if you can take on the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. Hello, everyone. This is Ishrat Aziz, and as Alan said, I will take you through this CA Serviceman Management Upgrades session. And what an apt timing for this webcast, as we had our 17.1 version released and went EGA just yesterday. So we will touch a little bit upon what is coming in 17.1 and how we have made the upgrade easier in this latest version as well. And that's where we will start our agenda with. We will start with why you should upgrade. So what is in it for 17.0 version, for 17.1 version, the general upgrade and adoption challenges that we have been seeing in our customer base, the upgrade experience improvements that we've been doing over multiple releases now, and then I will be taking you through detailed of customization upgrade utility that we deliver with our 17.0 version, along with a demo if time permits. And then we'll wrap it up with tips and tricks, debugging info, and towards the end, we will open it up for Q&A. So let's get started. So why should we be upgrading? As I said, our 17.1 went EGA just yesterday, and it comes packed with number of maintenance patches, as well as a list of exciting new features. We introduced a new Insight feature, which adds the reporting and analysis capability for our solution. It comes with the IT Service Management Business Metrics library. We built it using JasperSoft, gives you the ability to build ad hoc reports, dashboards, all by just drag and drop and creating your own reports, all on your Xflow integrated experience. We have added the support for native SAML 2.0. So if you are a service desk manager or Xflow customer, then the support for SAML 2.0 is enabled, and you'll be able to use it with any of your third-party tools that you are integrated with. We continue to focus and add functionalities to enrich our Xflow experience. The new 17.1 release provides you SLA capabilities, so SLAs are there now on Xflow. You will be able to see additional ticket attributes. We have even brought the classic workflow task and details onto your Xflow, so as an analyst, you can work and view the workflow tasks that are associated with your tickets. License usage. Now in Service Desk Manager, you can track your license, see it right there in your admin UI, and make sure that you are compliant. We have also enhanced our Mailiter, the RTF HTML format, as well as additional SSL configuration of wildcard support. And along with all that, we continued on quality improvements on our customer-wise front. We have a regular cadence of bug fixes, cumulatives, and mini roll-ups that we provide now for all the products across the solution. So that's what's new in our 17.1 release. I will quickly touch upon the highlights that or the features that we get if you upgrade to 17.0, which was our last major release. And we have the contextual collaboration for analysts in Xflow. Now analysts can collaborate with experts right in context of a ticket, and all this information is retained right there as part of the ticket for future references. We also have the follow-up on tickets, a new feature or functionality that is now available on Xflow. Enables an analyst to schedule follow-up and even send you reminders based on how early you would want that reminder to come up. Enhanced end-user context in Xflow. The end-user profile is enhanced to add more information, show more relevant data. So as soon as an analyst is trying to look out for a business user or a user, then they have all the right information, useful information right there on the screen. We also came up with a new UI theme in 17.0. If you see all the solution products, right from Service Catalog, IT Asset Manager, Service Desk Manager, all now have the same look and feel across the CS Service Management solution. We have also added a semi-automatic customization upgrade utility, which we will talk in detail today. This is a utility that will greatly improve and help you in your upgrade experience. Semi-automates a very manual and error-prone process of merging your HTMPLs if you're a Service Desk Manager user. And then we had improved accessibility done for our Service Catalog users, adding the VPAT compliance. So that's what we have in our latest release, and we recommend and would want more and more of our customers to come on to the latest release. It's like a win situation wherein we will be able to support, provide better upgrades. The process of upgrade becomes much, much simpler, and you will be able to see all the new features that we are building in the new releases. And when we look at the general challenges that our customers face, we usually see that the environment complexity plays a major role on how difficult it is for a customer to upgrade to a latest version. Many cases, the complexity just means a higher cost. Sometimes the release cadence is too frequent, or the volume of customizations that we have is just too costly or too time-consuming for us to upgrade. And then there are times when if it's working, then we don't want to upgrade it, or what's in the latest version that we need to upgrade for. So a difficult path and many challenges that the customers were facing, and hence that was one area of focus that we've been continuously investing and looking release over release, and have done major improvements in the entire install and upgrade experience throughout those releases. And our focus majorly have been, how do I simplify this process of upgrade? How do I reduce the complexity? How do I make this install and upgrade proactive? Instead of waiting for errors, how can the system be proactive and avoid errors? And then automate as much as possible the manual error-prone steps that we have, to automate to the extent possible so that an upgrade process becomes much, much easier and smooth for a customer. And that's really, we have made many changes, multiple additions to our solution in all these aspects. And if I double click on each one of them and see how we have added or enhanced this experience over the releases, to start with, simplify. Now, if you observe, our solution upgrade and install experience over the releases have really improved from what we started as separate point products, having their own installers, having their own upgrade process, to something of an in-between solution wherein we had some of them semi-automated, but still a lot of manual steps. 14.1 was the version where we brought in a common installer for the entire solution, common upgrades for the entire solution, no more each point product installer or separate experience for them. We added capabilities of auto detection, auto integration, and then we continued improving, enhancing that common installer in 17.0, wherein we, along with improvements on the installer, we have also included that semi-automated customization merge utility. And then 17.1 adds the capability for automatic minor release upgrades to further ease the upgrade process. So continuing, as we reduce complexity, our intent or our main goal was how do I reduce the effort? And if you see from a release over release, if you are on an earlier or a later version of release, the complexity and the cost that is associated is much, much less than if you are on a very old version of our solution. In addition, we do provide direct upgrades of Service Desk Manager right from 12.5 version to you can directly upgrade it to 17.1 now. Catalog support is from 12.8 and IT Asset Manager starts from 12.9. So there are no multiple step or hop staged migration, but you can directly upgrade from this version to the very greatest 17.1. Proactive, as I was speaking, our common installer came with multiple or many features which could detect the environment, discover what all was installed on the system, validate, and even shares the configuration. So if you have a common component like EEM integrated, then you really should not have to enter the same information for each of your components of the solution. So it auto-discovers your existing information. It had prerequisite validation. It will check what are the prerequisites for the component that you are trying to install on this server. It shares the configuration information so that you do not have to re-enter them again and again on multiple machines. It allows you to provide auto-integrations. So right now, our solution really comes out of the box all integrated with all the components integrated with each other. And all these steps are now automated and is done as part of your install and upgrade process. And then to support, we do have the pre and post installation deployment summary to view as you install your components on your servers. And just to go a step further on the automate step that I was talking of, auto integrations, one pain point that we continuously got, or feedback that we got from our customers, was the integration was manual, just too many steps, and once I install each of the products, I really have to go through multiple steps to get them all working together as a solution. And now with the common installer, all these are automated, and we were able to successfully bring down the number of steps that are manual after the upgrade. So just to give some numbers to you, and we did a very high level, we did a very high level analysis here to pick only the steps that are like absolutely necessary. Now, if in a customer environment, I will expect many more steps because you will have your own specific configurations and settings that needs to be done. But just for a vanilla install case, wherein I have to have the components of the solution all integrated, then we found at least 25 manual steps that had to be done on multiple servers to make all these products work as solution. And that's one major automation that we were able to do to successfully bring this down to less than 5 now. And again, this number is purely on a very basic installation, wherein if you have specific custom or configuration, then those might be additional. But for the very basic integration to work, these were the very high number of manual steps that were required, and our installer that we introduced in 14.1 actually, so upgrading from 14.1 onwards will drastically remove these steps, and as soon as you upgrade or install, you will actually have a solution working and not really just products trying to integrate. And as I continue, this is an enhancement that we did in 17.1. Another pain point. So we've been continuously looking at the challenge and the pain points our customers have been facing and seeing how we address them one by one. So another pain point that we had was if you are upgrading to a latest version, and there is already a minor version out there or EGA. Like for example, in our case, 17.1 is already out there for download, and you are upgrading from a 14.1. Then the process or the steps that you had to follow to move from an existing version to the latest 17.1 version was 2 steps. You first had to upgrade it to a major version, which would have been 17.0 in our case, and then apply the update. Now we have enhanced our 17.1 installer, so now it is a single step. The installer is intelligent enough to detect and then upgrade it to a major version and also apply the update for you. So continuing what I said, it detects that there is already a version and a minor version available and will be able to directly upgrade. So you no longer have to go to a product release page and download the major version, go to a patches page, download the latest minor version, and then do the multiple step upgrades. You just have to download the 17.1 and it will upgrade you to 17.0 and also apply the minor version of 17.1. And that was at a high level, at a solution level. So be it Service Desk Manager, be it Service Catalog, be it ITSM Manager, or this is an enhancement done across. Now, if I go a level below on specifically at a product level also, if you see CS Service Catalog, the steps that were involved in upgrading CS Service Catalog earlier before the Common Installer came into place was multiple. You run the upgrade, you do the setup, you do the integration, content pack. Now, Common Installer was able to reduce it, automate all these steps into a single step now, so that upgrading to or installing to a latest version is just one step, and you really do not have to run multiple utilities. Similarly, if I take the example of CS Service Desk Manager, another major enhancement or very useful enhancement we have done in 17.1 is automating the advanced availability upgrades. This was another challenging task wherein if you are, and again, I'm taking an example of an upgrade from 14.1, and you would want to upgrade to 17.1, then the steps that our customers had to follow was you first had to upgrade to 17.0. So you upgrade your background server, you upgrade your standby server, and all the application servers. Now the question is, are we done? No. So you have just upgraded to 17.0. You still have to upgrade to the 17.1 minor version. And that was a longish process wherein, you update the standby server with the minor patch first, which included multiple steps. Then you update the background server. Then you update each of the application servers. And then you are done. And this included steps like suppressing the version control, bringing it back, loading the insert and dat files, multiple steps on each of the servers if you have a large configuration or large number of servers deployed. Now, the enhancement we have done in 17.1 installer is, 17.1 installer is intelligent, first to detect that it needs to upgrade to 17.0 and then update it to a minor version of 17.1. And not only that, it actually automates all the steps that are there for advanced availability so that you really do not have to follow this two-stage multiple hop process to upgrade from a 14.1 version to directly to a 17.1 version. So I just have to run the upgrade on the background server, standby server, and all your applications, and then you're done. So all the manual and error-prone steps are automated now in 17.1. Now, continuing on the enhancement that we have done on the CA Service Desk Manager, the process to upgrade or the steps to upgrade earlier to the Common Installer were multiple. You had to run the upgrade, you have to merge the customization, do the integration, and with the introduction of the Common Installer, we were able to automate all these steps So now the common installer takes care of all these steps and directly will be able to upgrade to 17.0 or 17.1. But one step that is still manual there was merging the HTMPL customizations. Now, if you are a Service Desk Manager customer, you will agree with me that this is one of the most time-consuming activity. The higher the customizations you have, the more time and effort it requires for you to upgrade to the latest version. So that's the area that we had picked in 17.0 to see how do we improve and how do we support our customers, help them to automate or rather semi-automate this process so that the HTMPL merge can at least be partially automated. And that is where we introduce the customization upgrade utility, which gets shipped with our 17.0. After you install, this utility will be available for you to run on your customizations and semi-automatically try and merge them. We will go into detail of what this utility is all about, how did we develop it, and I will try and give you a short demo on how we used it. So let's get into the details of the customization upgrade utility. Quick introduction of the problem that we have, right? Service Desk Manager allows you to extensively customize forms as per your requirement. You can customize at a schema level, you can customize at a web interface level as well. Now, schema level customizations are mostly taken forward, but it's the HTMPL or the web interface UI level customization that needs to be manually merged. And to add to the complexity, we have changes over the releases, right? So you have done some customizations on one of the UI files, and then there were enhancements done over the releases, and now that file or customization HTMPL becomes incompatible. So you will have to redo the customizations manually again on the new form that comes up with the latest release. Now, since there is so much of manual work and analysis involved here, this process is this process is error-prone. Of course, it is manual. This process is error-prone as well. Specifically, if I take an example of a release like 12.6, where we had major UX changes, then there is a large number of forms that becomes incompatible, which means that you will have to redo those merges manually. And that requires a level of expertise and skill. It requires people who have the knowledge of HTMPL and who will be able to really look and do a merge. So to give you an idea how it was done, the manual merge process, all your customizations are there in the site mods folder. And if you want to merge them, you compare the old release file, and the next slide actually gives you an example. You compare the old file with the customized file, see what are the differences or what's the specific customizations you have done. You have to copy those customizations or redo them manually on the new HTMPL file that comes with the latest version. Now, to add to the complexity, if there are changes within that HTMPL, then you'll really have to figure out and make sure that you are including your customization at the right place, because otherwise it will break your functionality there. As a solution, we introduced the customization upgrade utility, a utility to automate this manual task, which was increasingly time-consuming and adds to the cost. It compares and automatically merges the customization. It does list failed merges. Because of the complexity of the customization that our customers do, there are cases where this utility will not be able to automatically merge it. In those cases, it will list the failed merges. It will give you a detailed log status, and it can also partially merge it. So to whatever point it was able to automatically merge the file, it will do it, so that maybe in cases it's already 80% merge, you just have to do the 20%. And good news is it handles customization merging right from your 11.2 version to the latest version of 17.0 that we had. And when we implemented this utility, this is not something that we have built in isolation because we were talking about customizations. We were talking about changes that our customers were doing and how do we support that automation. So we have built it as a collaborative work along with CS Services team. And we took beta customers. We took a sampling of HTMPLs of real customer changes, and then we have tested our utility against it. The sampling was done to see that we pick up right from simple to a complex environment, standalone to integrated, as well as we have tried it with non-English as well. And the results of customer validation have been very, very positive. In an average, we found 83% of the customizations were automatically merged, which kind of added to 56% of reduction in the upgrade time. So our manual work drastically reduced and reduced the overall upgrade time by 56%. And the success really varies based on the version from which you are upgrading. So if you are on a very old version like 12.6 or earlier, then the success rate might go down as well. But if you are on a version like 14.1 or higher, then we get a very, very good success percentage there. And we only consider the customizations that is done under site mods. We've got very positive feedback from the customers. They were able to automatically merge their customization. Some positive feedback that we got from our customers during that beta phase. And how did this customization utility work, upgrade utility work? So this utility takes as input three things. The customized files, which is your site mods folder, the out-of-the-box files of the release, existing version on which you are on. Again, for the sake of example, let me assume that I am upgrading from 14.1 to 17.1. So 14.1 existing release files it will take, and it will also take the out-of-the-box files of the new release that you are moving to, which will be a 17.1 or 17.0 release. This files it will take as input. It will automatically merge it, and as output, it will give you the newly merged files, which are 100% successfully automated. The partially merged files, which the utility for some reason was not able to merge it completely, usually when the complexity of the customizations or the volume of customization within a specific HTML is too high. And it will also give you a detailed log in case you would want to go further and review it. Going a step detailed into it, how the utility really works is it works in 3 steps. In the very first step, it will take the input that we have provided of out-of-the-box files and the custom files of the existing release like 14.1, and it will identify the differences. So it will look at the 2 files and identify what are the lines that were added as customization. In cases where the customization or the files we are dealing with is of an earlier format like 12.6, and our syntax or the way our tags are written in HTML now have changed over the release, this utility also provides the intelligence of converting them into a format that is valid now for the latest version. Now that's a very complex thing because this is not a utility which is just identifying a difference and pasting it at the right place. It is actually identifying, converting it into a template or a format that the latest version can understand, and then identifies which is the right place to merge it, which is in step 3, because the new file might have completely changed or might have new lines added, new logic added, new functionality added. So it has to identify where it needs to insert those lines of customization in a format that the new release can understand, and then merge it. And that's the output that we get of automatically merged customization files. So that was a little bit about the internals. And I want to reiterate again that this is just not a utility. This is not like a compare utility. This utility really handles complex customization, specific configurations of Service Desk Manager, wherein I'm identifying, I'm converting it, and then identifying the area to be placed in the new file. Now, having said all that, let's see how do I use this utility, right? Some prerequisites. Backup. Before you run this utility, do make sure that you back up your customization files. Clean up wherever possible, because there are times, specifically if you've been working on that environment or making customizations over time, we will end up with underscore backup files, right? Files that we were trying something, customizations that we were attempting something, didn't really get completed, there as a backup. So always recommended to clean up, because the utility is going to look at the entire folder and try and merge it. So just so that the result is neat and it's something that you can directly copy and paste under your site mods, try and clean up that folder so that the output or the resulting merged folder also is clean and good to directly copy. Upgrade to the latest version, major version of 17.0. This majorly because as input, the utility takes the out-of-the-box files of the 17.0 version also. So for you to be able to give that as input, you'll have to first upgrade it and then use that folder as input to the merge utility. Steps to run, pretty simple. I'm not going to go in detail over here because anyhow there is a demo coming up, but you run it from command prompt, run the batch file or the sh file, input the required details and start the merge process. It will give you an output and logs file which you can review. And the utility takes multiple input options. Now all these options are clearly documented on our DocOps page. You can review it. I will touch upon just few, like for example the conversion flag, which is mostly used if you are on a version earlier than 12.6, like 12.5 version, because there have been significant changes in the format and the templates that we use for HTMPL. So if you would want any of your HTMPL's content or customization to be converted into a new format, then you will use this flag, which is set on by default, I think. There are other flags like location, location of customized files, location of out-of-the-box files, where you would want the merge files to be, the temp location to be, and finally the log location. Again, the details of each of these options is documented on our site, so feel free to go and have a look at it. Once you have done it, you'll have to review the result, do a quick verification to ensure that the automatic merge is working fine, and then you can restore the customizations. Going into detail of each one of them, when you review the results, right? Now there are three categories that the result might be in, and I've just put a snapshot of how the result will be coming. There are files which are merged successfully, so they are the good ones, all good to go for the new installation. So they are completely merged successfully. Now, then there are files which the utility was not able to merge, failed to merge, or partially merged. These files will be renamed with an extension of underscore partial underscore merge. So if you see the folder of the merged files, you'll be able to very easily identify the ones which are partially merged. And then in cases where you had new custom files that were added, so there is nothing to compare or merge with, but these are just new files or new forms that you had added in your earlier version. Those will be copied over. Again, wherever required, it will be converted into a format that the new version can understand, but this will be copied over without really doing a comparison with the out-of-the-box files. In very rare cases where you have maybe a form or a UI element that is deprecated in the latest version, then that file will actually be considered as unmerged and will be shown under the copied one. Verification, you will be able to, we actually have a detailed log under the NXRoot log folder, customization merging.log, which will show you all the details of the run. You can spot check and do a basic sanity to ensure that the merge has happened correctly. And then the files that it could not automatically merge, you'll have to manually merge them. To help you out, it will provide you the percentage of successful merge that the utility was able to do, and also an approximate line number where it kind of failed to merge. And once you are done, you can restore your customization onto your site mods, clear the server cache so that the new changes can start showing up on your UI. The advantage of having the partial merge is instead of the utility just exiting with an error message due to whichever reason that a complex customization was not able to merge completely, it will at least be able to merge to a point where it's possible, and then the remaining can be done manually. So a percentage of effort is still saved in case of partially merged customizations. The utility does give you a summary after completion. As I said, it will give you the list of files that successfully merged, what failed to merge, percentage of merging done, and an approximate line number where it failed. Some additional tips, few more useful properties that can be used. One useful thing over here is it does allow you silent execution. So there is a properties file which will have all the input values that you typically put from command prompt. If you provide that as part of the properties file, then you can very well run this utility in a silent mode by setting the flag of TIS_silent to 1 and then run the batch file. So with that, let me quickly move to a demo. So what you are seeing on the screen is a Service Desk Manager server, and this is the command prompt. And what you have to do to run the utility is under the bin folder, NXRoot bin folder, you will have to run the customization upgrade.batch file. Once you run the utility, it will start asking you for multiple inputs like, do you want to do the conversion? What is your previous base folder, which is your existing out-of-the-box files. Typically, if you have had an upgrade scenario, then the upgrade process itself takes the backup under the migrate folder, so you can actually directly point it to that folder. The customized folder, the new out-of-the-box folder location, where would we want this merged folder to be, and then with all these inputs, it will go ahead and run the utility. Now, for the sake of demo, I took an example of just one file, so that's why the utility really ran quickly. So it says 1 is merged successfully. Now let's see what we have merged. And this will be there in your Service Desk Manager installation. We have provided some samples under Service Desk Manager folder for customization upgrade utility, wherein it has some sample files that you can run and try and see how this utility works. So to explain you what this utility did just now. Now, as an example, I have a very simple file called test.html here. And what I have done in this test.html, and I'm using a compare utility over here, is if you compare a file that is your out-of-the-box original file with the customization, as part of that, I had added few lines. So I've added a variable, I have made some line changes in between, I have made some customizations under the site mods folder. And the same test.html has actually gone through some changes over the next release, which is this sample that I'm trying to show you now. If you see a comparison of the out-of-the-box earlier version file to the new version file, looks like the new version file have few things added, like a new variable is added with a value. There are some lines or code inserted in between. So the file in itself has gone through some changes in the latest version, as an example. So this file, if this was a part of your customization, would have become incompatible now after the upgrade, because this file has gone through changes and you'll have to manually redo it. Now let's see what our utility has done. And just for our reference, if you remember, in the future file or the latest version file, we have added a variable called new var and set it as we have 1000. Now I'm showing you a comparison of the latest out-of-the-box file with the, and it's asking me to reload because I've just run it, with the merged file. And if you see, this is the merged file, HTML merged, and the customization from the earlier releases have been carried forward to this version, which means the utility was able to take this latest version file and insert the customizations. And just to make sure or double check that this is the latest version file, if you see that the new variable values that were added and we just referred in the earlier compare is also available. Very simple example just to demonstrate how the utility works. But the idea is to show that it can pull customizations from the old version, identify where to insert in the new version, and complete your merge automatically. That was all about the utility. I will take a couple of more minutes to run through some tips and tricks, and we will leave some time for the questions. There are several pre-upgrade, post-upgrade steps that are documented on your site, but in addition, few of the things that can be really handy or useful to avoid any errors or unforeseen situations. Our recommendation will always be to do a replica, a run on a replica of production first. Recommendation will be to try on a test environment. Do plan for upgrade of common components first. There are times when the common components are shared and our upgrade might be stacked upgrade. You might be upgrading one component after the other. So do plan for how do we upgrade the common components wherever they are shared. If you are a service desk manager customer, we will recommend considering advanced availability configuration if you are still on the standard configuration. One question that we keep getting multiple times is how do I debug MDB failures in case the upgrade or the install failed on the MDB installation step. Then the location to look for logs for MDB is under your temp. There will be a folder for MDB_SQL or MDB_Oracle based on the database that you're running the upgrade for. Another useful information is what if you would want to know what are the Service Desk Manager schema changes that are going into an install or rather an upgrade, then you can refer to this location. It will list out all the tables that are being updated in this particular upgrade. Another useful information is if you would want to know what is the out-of-the-box content or data that is being inserted, that's being deleted or removed or even modified, then you can refer to the folder called data under NX root. It will have specific files for insert, delete, and update, which will give information on what exactly is the information or data that is being updated. Very quickly, the log locations where you'll be able to find the logs in case you run into any issues. for installer, for service risk manager, for service catalog, and ID asset manager. So with that, and after covering a whole lot of enhancements that we've been doing over the releases, and as we continue to focus on this area and make further improvements, I would want to close this session with something that I started off with, talking about upgrades and the challenges, and taking each one of them as we made enhancements of improvements release over release. We have tried to address each one of them and see how we can smoothen or ease the upgrade process for our customers and get them on to the latest version of 17.1 and make this upgrade much easier for service management. So that's all I had. I will hand it back to Alan now. And I think with almost 15 minutes, we can open it up for questions.
Great, great. Well, thank you. Thank you very much, Ishrat. That was very informative. I hope everybody got a lot out of that. Again, please type your questions into the Q&A tab there. We do have several of them. And Ishrat, I'll read them out to you, and then you can respond to them, if that's okay?
Sure.
Okay. The first question is, will the CUU be included in the automatic installer in the future? This would be a pre-flight check, but within the installer logs.
So as of now, we have a backlog item that we are looking at, but yes, that's feedback that we have received from other customers as well. So we are looking into that. Yeah, I'll say we are looking into that option, but in 17.1 it is not there.
Okay. And then there's a couple other questions along the same lines. It seems the CUU could be called from the installer and automatically determine source files and make backups, etc. And how does the CUU handle comments in forms using PDF, it looks like PDM, IFO format?
So yeah. First, yeah, go ahead, Vidya.
So I'll take this probably. So basically, this utility is string merge. So it really does not matter if if it is a commented code like PDM is 0. It will just compare and figure out the changes and try to merge it. Even though comment part also, it will try to merge it. So it really does not matter if it is a commented or uncommented code.
Okay.
Thank you, Vidya. Alan, I would want to add on the first comment that was made. With the utility, we are actually taking a phased approach because, as I mentioned in my session, that the time it takes and the success rate is really dependent on the customization and the environment complexity that we have. So to start with, we are providing it as a separate utility so that the complexity or anything going wrong in the utility execution really does not hold or prolong the upgrade process in itself. But as we mature and improve our utility, then we will be looking at options of including it as part of the upgrade process itself.
Great, great, great. And there's a couple other questions here that are related. If Swingbox is still required, where does the CUU fall within those procedures?
Yes, Swingbox will still be required in cases of moving from a test to prod. The utility will really come into play in places where even after a Swingbox, where you are merging and trying out the customization, the merge need not be done in a manual way. The utility will be able to help you to automatically merge it. But Swingbox, the process, the steps for Swingbox remains the same.
Okay, and then there's another question from Andrea. Swingbox upgrade has not been discussed. Is there complete documentation detailing how a Swingbox upgrade works, including handling the database upgrade and moving the data from 14.1 to the 17.1 database?
Yes, so I haven't touched upon the Syndocs upgrade because we have not made changes on that front. It's really a documented procedure on when you move from one server to the other. Yes, we have the documentation available for the steps and what we need to take care for the Syndocs.
Okay. Then we switch over to catalog. Can the catalog upgrade be done without EEM integration, or can EEM integration be done separate from the catalog upgrade?
So right now, EEM is integral for catalog to work and upgrade. So you will have to have, because it's the core authentication mechanism that catalog uses. So you will have to have a EEM available for catalog upgrades.
Okay, we do have a couple more questions, but keep in mind we still have room for some more. Just hit the Q&A tab and type your question and send it to all participants. The next question is, will the tool recognize the change of the components order on the HTMPL form?
Should I take it?
Yes, sure, Vidya.
Yeah,
so Vidya is our customization utility expert and SAB, so better he takes the question.
Okay.
Yeah, so the question is whether it will take care of the order of the code. So the answer is yes. So what it does, basically, it figures out what is the changes compared to the old release, and picks the changes and try to find the reference change, basically. Some of the characters before the change and after the change, it tries to find out in the new release and try to fit it. So that's basically it takes care of the order, because at the end the HTML is nothing but HTML code, and it in the wrong order, HTML code will not work. So that is taken care.
Okay. And the last question we have here is it okay to upgrade directly from 14.1 to 17.1, or do they first need to upgrade to 17.0 and then 17.1?
No, it's absolutely okay to upgrade from 14.1 to 17.1. That's the enhancement that we have done in our 17.1 upgrade process, wherein you no longer have to do these two steps. You can directly upgrade from an earlier version to the 17.1. It will upgrade as well as update the minor version.
Great. All right. Are there any other questions? I'm not seeing any others coming in here, unless see Swingbox. We got all those. We see you. No, we have no other questions. Any last questions before we adjourn? Okay. Ishrat, any comments before we close out the session?
Thank you very much for attending the session. I hope we all utilize this utility as well as the enhancements we have done. And hopefully this should make the upgrades much, much easier. Yes,
yes. And I want to thank, another question just came in. Let's get this since we have just a couple minutes left here. Is there a direct link to download?
17.1?
Yeah, I think it's, is there to directly download from the support site or however that's done?
Yeah, yes, there is a direct. So we no longer have to go to a product page for the major release and then the support page for the patch releases. There is a single link in the product page for 17.1, which will have the required contents to upgrade you from a 14.1 to a 17.1.
Excellent. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you to our speakers today. Much appreciate the information. Again, this webcast has been recorded, and it will show up on the community page there under the webcasts tab. You can find all the past webcasts there. And make sure, if you haven't already, make sure you check out the 17.1 webcasts. We actually did 3 of them, but they're out there, as well as a monthly roadmap webcasts that we're doing and sessions that are very specific like this on topics. So thank you all for your time today, and we hope to see you on a future webcast. Thank you, speakers.